Hi, good afternoon. And I want to welcome and thank participants logged in Zoom or on Facebook. This is another riveting seminar or webinar by the Malaysian International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, MICCI. We do a lot of these subject matter as a benefit to our members, right? We live in a very challenging time at the moment. The pandemic has caused quite a disruption to our daily life. And today's topic is about the employer's audit by the Inland Revenue Board. And we have two speakers, but I want to say that unfortunately, the first speaker, Puan Shalina Jafar, the Executive Director of Crow Malaysia, unfortunately is not able to make it today. So we have Mona Lisa Muhammad Ali, Associate Director, who is the second speaker to be helming this seminar today. Because of this pandemic, a lot of us are working from home. So please bear with us because there might be some background noises, okay? But anyway, the subject matter is very important, very apt at the moment because the government has spent quite a lot of money in terms of the Penjana, Periatin packages and getting the vaccination going. One of the ways of having more revenue and funds for the government to operate, one of the KPIs was placed on the Inland Revenue Board to try to explore new avenues to increase tax collection. In particularly, there are changes to sections 83, 2, 3, and 4 that you should be aware of, and that's what our speaker, Ms. Mona Lisa, would probably telling you some of the things that you look out for. It's already a very challenging business environment. Businesses are trying to keep afloat and to manage through. And one of the things that they wouldn't want would be a knock on the door by the tax authorities. So sit down, listen through this webinar, and get yourself prepared. Nothing speaks better than getting yourself prepared. And without further ado, I would like to pass to our first speaker, Ms. Mona Lisa Muhammad Ali. She's the Associate Director of the Global Mobility Services Division of Crow KL Tax. Crow KL Tax. She has more than 15 years of experience in both expatriate and personal tax. She's involved in with clients on international assignments and also providing the global mobility services. She is also a certified HRDF trainer and has conducted numerous seminars on employer tax and payroll related topics. So without further ado, can I invite Ms. Mona Lisa to start your conversation? Yes. Okay. All right, then I'll sign off there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. All right, for the wonderful introduction. And thank you again for inviting me to speak for today's webinar. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Crow Malaysia webinar on tax awareness for employer. Do you know that there is no new taxes were introduced by the 2021 budget, but with a projected direct tax revenue of 144 billion. So what will be the IRB's focus? The Inland Revenue Board itself. What are they trying to do and how they want to collect that without any other taxes introduced? Yeah. So we expect that the IRB will significantly intensify tax audits activities into taxpayers' financial business affairs for 2021. However, I've been aware about this because I've been joining a few session or conducts a dialogue with the IRB as well, and also the few information from the news. IRB says they may not be focused on the salaries income taxpayer. Okay, maybe because due to a lot of retrenchment, you know, there is so many people are now is not working, so they are not focused on that salaries income as their information, because they say all the information of the taxpayers who receive a salary already available from their employers for verification purpose. So now, what you can see from this statement is it you as an employer is very important role that you must aware that what will be your tax obligation. And now, are you ready for employer's audit? Yes, some say yes, I'm ready. There is nothing afraid for that audit. No, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not aware about this employer's audit until I joined this session. Yeah, but some of you maybe say, oh, I don't think so. You know, I don't bother at all. So it's fine, fair enough. Whatever that your answers is on you, but today I will share with you what will be the employer's obligation, and there will be a plenty of time for question at the end, and I will try to answer all your questions. And if time is not permit, you may email me your question and I will try to answer it and have a discussion with you after the session. Yeah. Okay. An important note before we begin, the information presented here is not intended to be professional advice. Please seek consultation from a qualified professional advisor before taking any action based on this material. Okay, so today I will be present on this webinar, and let's start on the overview of the employer's tax obligation. For better understanding, why not we understand the definition of employment, employer, employees, and the deemed employer. Did you know what's the meaning of the deemed employer? So now you must listen carefully. Are you will be caught under the deemed employer? So this definition was stated in the Income Tax Act 1967. So now what this is, the employment says, employment means the master and servant relationship exists. Okay, or any appointment or office, whether public or not, and whether or not that master or servant, master and servant relationship exists, for which remuneration is payable. So this is called the employment. So if you have a master, and the servant is actually, the master provide the instruction, the servant will follow the instruction, and the master itself will pay the remuneration to the servant, right? So let's move on to employer. Employer is the master, or a person who pays or is responsible for paying remuneration to the employee. Notwithstanding that, that person and the employee may be the same person acting in different capacity. Okay? So you as the employer is paying the remuneration to the employee, but maybe you as an employer also, okay, maybe acting a different capacity. Okay, it's either you as employee of the company, okay, or you are the owner, you also call the employer. Yeah, but that is, of course, you need to understand on the responsibility and differentiate about on these directors especially. Okay, so next, what will be the employee? The employee is the servant. The servant or holder of the appointment or office which constitute the employment. So the employee will be the servant who actually appointed and needs to do based on what the employers instructed. Yeah, so you need to provide your services, you need to perform your duties. So a deemed employer, pursuant to section 83(6), many people, okay, any person who benefit from services performed or rendered by an individual, regardless of whether the person employs that individuals or is responsible for paying remuneration to that individuals. See, you maybe are not aware, if you are benefit from the service performed by your employees or any individuals, yeah, so as long as you are maybe responsible for paying some money or the remuneration to the individuals, you are more considered as the deemed employer. Okay, I would say that most employers are not aware that they are considered as a deemed employers, especially if they are sponsoring any work permit. Example, professional visit pass of their third parties vendors. Because they feel that I just sponsoring the permit. Yeah. Then how I come to become as the employer to that employees? So they just perform and come over here and sponsoring a work permit, and the salary I'm not paying as well. Okay, but here, are you benefit from the service? See, so you need to be very careful. Other consideration as a deemed employer, maybe if the employers employed trainees, interns, including non-Malaysian citizen, temporary staff, contract staff. Okay, how about the employees from head office or subsidiaries on temporary assignment, or maybe in a frequent business traveler? So you must aware of either you are caught by these employers, deemed as a deemed employers. Okay, so as a deemed employer, I would suggest this is a very important. Okay, you must be aware that all the responsibilities, whatever the employer's responsibilities, you also must comply. Okay, employers also should get ready and be prepared for an audit before it's too late, of course, right? So why? This is all about the employer's obligation. Maybe some of it you already knows that I'm aware about this employee's return. I already done it. I'm aware about the remuneration statement. I must submit it to all the employees. Okay, then I deduct the monthly tax deduction. And of course, I'm keeping record whatever that I've been report and also submitted to IRB. But here, are you aware that you need to notify the new employees? Notify the cessation of employees. notify if they are leaving countries, or even you need to withhold the last drawn salary. So now, okay, having an in-depth understanding of the tax obligation of an employer in Malaysia is important due to the increasingly stringent tax laws and tax audit carried out by the IRB. Okay, so now I think I want to share with you in a bit, a brief explanation. We go one by one. What will be your obligation as the employer? Okay, Section 83(1) says, okay, obligation to submit employer's return. I believe all of you already submitted your YA 2020 Form E, employer's return. Okay, not later than 31st March of this year. Okay, so due to the grace period, if you have filed your tax return e-filing, there is a grace period, allows you to file a tax return until April. Okay, so now, so effective 2016, all the companies, they say required to file Form E electronically, so via e-filing. So then they also say that a mandatory to the employer to file regardless whether you have the employees, if you have the employees or do not have any employees. Even though your company is dormant status or maybe not in operation or in the winding up status, you still need to file your tax return. Hey, why? Why this so? Need to file. There is nothing, there is no employees, no nothing to report. So it's also dormant and is waiting to close. Due to this COVID pandemic, I believe that there is a lot of business. Is actually in the midst of winding up. So as long as you are not receive any notification from the IRB says that you are not required to file your tax return, employer's return, okay, effective from the year assessment 2020 example. So it's fine. But if you are not receiving it, you still obligation, it's your obligation to file the YA 2020 tax return until you receive a notification from the IRB says that, okay, I'm no longer required to file the Form E. Okay, so what else under Section 83(1)A says every employer must prepare the statement of remuneration. So I believe most of you already prepare it, but are you aware there is a deadline? They said based on the Act by end of February of the following tax year. So meaning that YA 2020 Form EA, okay, deadline to disseminate to the employee should be on or before 28 February 2021. Okay, so what is the Form EC? For the public servant, they call it Form EC. For private sector, we call it as a Form EA. So this Form EA, the employer also must ensure that whatever remuneration you report in that Form EA must be accurate. So now, it's more getting, why? Okay, I already issued the EA. Why so, what's the problem that I've been notified they just received a salary? But did you aware that maybe the employer also buy the other benefits, such as car? Oh, I didn't know. That is not in my payroll. Yes, it's not in your payroll, but then if they stated in the contract or even the employees actually provide the individuals or the employees enjoy the benefit of the car, then it should be taxed on the individuals. What else are the benefits? So other benefit that maybe you feel that, oh, it's not taxed, no need to pay tax on the benefit, no need to report under the hand of the employees. So you must be ensure that you really report the income of your employees accurately, because at the end of the day, right, if there is any omission of income or underreporting of income under the Form EA, the employer need to liable for the penalty. Okay, so now I will discuss about the Section 83(2), 3 and 4. Yes, as per Sean says that there is something new about these sections in the Act for employer. why is actually they suddenly improvise this. So maybe they just want to have, you know, highlight. I just want to highlight, okay, now there is some updates. Are you aware or not? The IRB believe that all of us and all the information on our fingers, in our fingers, right? So they assume all of us are aware what will be the updates from the IRB. So other than that, Section 83(5), the monies withheld from ceased or departing employees. So the employer is required to withhold 90 days of any money to be paid to his employees or until receive the tax clearance letter. Okay, so I also will go through these in brief for the next slides. So basically, as employer, you must withhold the money. Okay, then after you receive a clearance letter, you release the money to them. If there is any balance of tax, you need to pay to the income tax. Okay, so why I need to release? Because if I release, I hold their money, so means that I'm not paying anything to them. So what happened to the Employment Act? Because Employment Act says there is the requirement to just release within seven days or 14 days like that. So how about, should I wait for until 90 days or until the clearance received? So this is something that you need to manage. Yeah. So then, as earlier, I informed earlier, is a deemed employer. Of course, as a deemed employer, you need to responsible to all these tax obligation of the employers. Okay, and I believe that most of you are aware about the monthly tax deduction scheme, pay as you earn scheme. Okay, the deadline to remit the MTD of your employees by 15 of the following month. Okay, so you need to submit via CP 39, ECP 39, or maybe e-data EC. Okay, so you need to inform what will be the correct MTD amount that you should deduct from the employees. Then you remit it to the IRB. Okay, so there is a few updates about this MTD. All right, there is a new operational guidelines number 4/2020 on the monthly tax deduction issued on 17 November 2020. So in that operational guidelines, the IRB already laid out what will be the employer obligation towards the MTD. How you determine the MTD amount and what will be the other MTD requirements. So please, after this session, you know about these updates. Why not you check out the IRB's website and look for this operational guideline. Okay, so is it the MTD that you already doing it every day? Yeah, I believe every month you need to perform payroll. So is it your payroll? Okay, the MTD amount, is it consider that, you know, comply with the IRB's rule? So this is something that you also need to look at it. Okay, so this would be the new section. Okay, this section, okay, already there in the Income Tax Act. But following the Gazette of the Finance Act 2020 and the subsequent amendment to the Income Tax Act, it says an employer is now required to submit a notification to the Inland Revenue Board within 30 days. Previously, 1 month. Because in the calendar year, they have 30 days, 28 days, 31 days, so headache to identify this. But they said based on the 30 days, within the 30 days, means that this is the changes. Okay, so any changes to your employees, what happened? Okay, now they said there is a few types of notification: new employment, termination, leaver, and now they also stated that death. For employee who deaf employees, the employer needs to notify after the 30 days of the death. So last time, immediately just says that. Okay, so they also stated in the act, notify in a prescribed form. There is a prescribed form in the IRB's website that of course you need to complete and submit it to the IRB. Then when you submit, you remember to get the acknowledgement stamp or even acknowledgement email from your officers to say that, okay, officer already received my forms, completed forms. So this is a proof that the days that you already sent to the IRB and the IRB acknowledging it is important. If the IRB do audit, this is what the information they want to look at it. Okay, so of course about the due dates, this is where the due date, they improvise it. They said, okay, 30 days, within the 30 days need to notify, or 30 days after being informed of the debt. Yeah, so unfortunately, okay, when this amendment of the act, yeah, they say also stated that this is effective from 1st January 2021. Why? So what happened if you are not even practice all this? Okay, what will be your consequences? And how about the past years? Or should I submit all the forms, okay, to the IRB now? Okay, so this is where that I will share my view and also the IRB's view when we encounter such cases about all these employers related matters. Okay, so let's see on this section 82, notification of the new employees. So as the employer, if you already get the new employees, so you need to notify these new employees not later than 30 days after the commencement date. Okay, so who's actually eligible? Employees who eligible? The employees who is or is likely to be chargeable to tax. So not all, but only employees who is or is likely to be chargeable to tax that you need to notify. Okay, so now the question here is actually, what will be the date of commencement? When we talk about the date of commencement, is it the date of the contract signed? Okay, when it's actually, or is it the date when the employee performed the work? Okay, or for the foreign employees, is it the date from the issuance of the work permit? So this is where that you need to ensure that the dates of the commencement must be stated, okay, in the prescribed form. Okay, so here again, employees. Who are employees that we are looking at based on the definition? Okay, the employees, is it the permanent staff? Okay, how about the, the expatriate employees? Should I notify? Okay, so how about the, contract employment? Okay, so this is where that you need to see, okay, is if these employees, all employees is actually you are paying a remuneration for them, but these employees is or is likely to be chargeable to tax, then yes, you need to submit this form CP22 PIN 2021. Okay, so that is the new form. I will show with you after this. Okay, you need to submit this form, okay, with not later than 30 days from the commencement date. And you must ensure that all the information inside the prescribed form are correct. Okay. Now, what happens if you are actually not, to say, I'm not sure whether this employee at the end of the day, is it maybe, all right, the income may be chargeable to tax or not. Okay, so this is a other question that we need to know. What will be the requirement? Is it the remuneration 3,000 per month? Should we report and also submit this CP22 to the Inland Revenue Board? So how is actually you determine this, okay, eligible of employees? Now, when we look at the section 83(2), they say that employee who is or is likely to be chargeable to tax. Chargeable to tax means the gross employment income, for example, the gross total income for the year, right, the total year, Okay, total income received for the year, minus of the salary, minus of the personal reliefs, self-relief, EPF, relief, spouse, if any, child, if any. Okay, what else? Other deduction. Okay, because the IRB nowadays, okay, inside the guideline, the MTD guideline, they say employer needs to disseminate the form TP1, which is all the deduction on the personal relief that the employees wants to claim. Then you as the employer need to reflect the same in your payroll system. So at the end of the day, you actually are not sure whether this employee may be, all right, chargeable to tax or not. Okay, so this is where that you need to be very careful. But what happened if you uncertain? I suggest, and even the IRB also inform, there's no harm for you to just submit the CP22. Okay, there is a few scenario or consideration that we need to understand here as well. Okay, so you as an employer, what happened last previous years that you never performed this? Then how you want to rectify this? Okay, so is it I'm okay for me? Okay, since this section 83.2 has been improvised, okay, effective 1st January 2020, all right. So is it, sorry, is 2021, January 2021, which is this year. So is it I need to go back from 1st January, now already May. Okay, so should I notify from January, February, March, okay, April, now is May. So whatever happened to the past month, should I notify the Inland Revenue Board now? Okay, so this is where that we need to know, okay, is it require or you just wait for the IRB ask you when they conduct audit, or you want to do a self-voluntary? Okay, so the self-voluntary here, for voluntary disclosure, okay, last time you remember in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 2018 until 2019, there is a SVDP, but employers are not being eligible for that SVDP. So here again, depends to the employer whether you just want to take approach as the just wait and see. So if you want to have the wait and see, okay, it's fine. But when the times comes, then how you want to handle it? Okay, so I will discuss this later. All right, what's the next section? Okay, so let's move on. Okay, what will be the new updates on this CP22? There is an update in the CP22 which is requires the employers to report remuneration to the to report the remuneration paid to these employees, okay, in very accurately, which is they say very clear, all the income is there. If you can see from the form, okay, you need to have the salary, the benefit income, the living accommodation, they need to have to know what's others, allowance, other information about the remuneration. So basically the format of this form CP22 are similar format, okay, like the form EA. Okay, so now you as the employer needs to complete this information, okay, based on the month, okay, for the first month of this person, join your company. So the question here also, can we do it as estimation? Because there is some item maybe based on the ad hoc basis. So you as an employer, if you know what is actually been paid to these individuals based on the employment contract, so you need to put it there, all the information must be accurate. Okay. Other than that, other updates will be they want to know about the previous employer's particulars for that current year. Okay, for example, you join the company, okay, the employees join your company in on 1st May 2021. Okay, so previous year, okay, from January up to April, this person unemployed. So is it required for you to get the information from the employee for the past employers, which is after, or last year or previous years? So based on the clarification from the IRB itself, they said no need, we only need to know the employer's particular from the current year. So if the employee was, work with other firm, okay, example, other company, company ABC, all right? So then now join your company 1, 2, 3. So then you need to get this information from your employees. What will be the name of the employer and what will be the address? Wow. So now is another information that you need to put in your HR checklist when you actually hire people. It's not only that you need to inform other HR related matters or operation related matters, but you also must have some documentation about the tax because you need to complete the tax form. Okay. Then somehow that the employees are now not sure whether this role should handle by HR or is it should handle by payroll. So if the payroll and HR is the same person or same department, it's fine. So easy to just generate, based on the payroll system. By right, if your payroll system is authorized by the IRB, so this form is actually, this form already inside the payroll system. So you just key in all the information and details, then just click, press the button, then this can come out. Then you can just send this document hard copy to the IRB, or due to the COVID pandemic, maybe it's having a problem for you to send hard copy. You can just, share and get the email address from the IRB. Unfortunately, you are not be simply just send to any, any IRB's officer. There is a platform. It's either you need to call the IRB's first, okay, to submit this this form CP22, okay, to the employees branch, or is it you can upload in the feedback, okay, feedback of the IRB's website. So you need to get the clarification with the IRB how is actually you can submit this, or even can you submit it by courier, example. Okay, so this is where that you need to make sure that new rules, whatever the new rules or new updates that requires information, you also put it in your SOP, your internal standard operation procedure. Yeah. Okay. So what else? Notification of cessation or death. Previously, all right, they're not clearly stated on the death need to be notified. So notify cessation of employment not later than 30 days before the date of cessation of employment, or the reason of death, okay, not more than 30 days after being informed of the death of the employees. Okay, then who actually you need to inform the IRB for employees who is or is likely to be chargeable to tax again. If this person is or is likely to be chargeable to tax. If not, it's not required for you to notify. So what if, is it the IRB or the Director General allows or accept if any notice given to them less than 30 days, 1 month, 30 days, they say 30 days, alright, due to this cessation, they said, okay, as long as it's satisfied, okay, the reason are reasonable, it's not fake, okay, so it's can justifiable, so they say, okay, I can accept, okay, but it's based on case by case basis. So there is a new form about form CP22A which is PIN 2021. Okay, I will go through with you what will be the form later on. Let's move on. What will be the condition? Is there is any condition on this? Or is it I need to notify for all? So the IRB says in the Act, stated that the condition that give an exemption to employer not to submit Form CP22A to the IRB if the income from the employment for the employee is subject to MTD and the employees does not resign or retire from the employment. So meaning that even though he ceased your employment from your company, but he actually joined with other company and you knows that these employees will continue paying the MTD and also employed with other company, all right, with other company in Malaysia, so that they say this is the first condition, you don't need to submit. Secondly, if the monthly tax deduction, the monthly income of the employment is not subject to MTD, so below threshold, and the employee also knows that they will not resign or retire from the employment. So meanings, as long as you know that this person, okay, is not subject to MTD, you say, okay, is not subject to MTD, then he has not resigned and retire, then this is where the condition comes from. Okay, so below threshold, okay, MTD deducted correctly, accurately by the employer. Okay, then the another category, if the employees is income is below than threshold, okay, so no need, they say, as long as this person continue employ for other employment in Malaysia and continue paying tax. Yeah, so we also have clarified by the IRB in the technical branch, okay, about this statement. So they say when upon the audit or even based on the Act, the way that their view is actually the employee will have another employment which is working with other employers in Malaysia, and the employer can confirm, okay, that this employee cease and employed with other employment, okay, and will not retire, okay, then if either can be proved by the new employment contract from the new employer, or then you are no need to file the CP22A. Do you think that employees will share with you their employment contract that they already signed for the new employees? All the personal detail, I mean, all the PNC information and details that need to be shared with the employer, the former employer? I don't think. Okay, I don't think so. Is what else the other employer can do about it? Can employer, when they conduct exit interview session, okay, exit interview, of course, I believe that most of you able to get the exit interview with your employees, and there is a few checklists that you want to ask the employees. So this is where that you need to put in your checklist to ask whether this employee will continue working with other employer in Malaysia or leaving Malaysia. So this is very important information, must be in your checklist. Okay. Or what else? You feel that, oh, this is not enough. I think I'm not sure whether IRB can accept my reason or proof to say that I already this information is based on the employees. So is it enough based on this checklist? So what else? Maybe employer, some of employers says, okay, I want to have one tax declaration, okay, to ensure that all the taxes of these individuals, okay, is bear, right, by the employees itself. Okay, so anything happen, the IRB will look at them. Okay, we find out with the individuals or the employees, not the employer. So some of the employer also take approach to have kind of declaration or letter undertaking to say that this tax yourself need to double, and any taxes related matter you need to deal with the IRB. So maybe this is some sorts to need to have inside the SOP as well. Okay, why not? So, but here, the most important that you must confirm that these employees will continue working with other employment. If not, it's your obligation to submit the form CP22A to the Inland Revenue Board and obtain the tax clearance letter. Once you receive a clearance letter, you can release their money withheld, their last drawn salary or whatever payment or last drawn payment, okay, to the employees once you receive a clearance letter. Okay, so a bit, there is a few consideration and also issues here that you need to make sure that you understand is either your obligation for these employees to submit or not to submit. Okay, right. So what will be the updates about this form? Okay, this form CP22A, the IRB last time never mentioned that needs to be submitted by the employer for deaf employees. Now in the form they already stated that must be submit 30 days after being informed of the death. And what else? They also put some updates in the form CP22A, which is there is a section, okay, they provide an extra section for the employer to report benefit in kind provided to the employees. Okay, so this is the few information that the IRB wants to collect data. I think maybe because most of the employer are not report benefits. So that's why the employees, the IRB is trying to gather this information from the employer. Because if there is any underreporting of income, who will liable? Okay, the individuals already submitted their tax return, right? So what happened to any omission of income or underreporting of income? The individuals don't know. Whatever that, even though they already enjoy it, they never question because they enjoy it because company provide it. So maybe they also not aware that the such benefit should be taxed under the employees. So this is something that the employer must enlighten your employees. Okay, so in your HR handbook, okay, this is really important to have all the tax item, the remuneration item or benefit given to the employees. Is it taxable or not taxable? Is it there is any exemption or not? So this is where that you need to look at it as well. Okay, so when you have the individuals or employees who already resigned or terminated, and you feel that not sure whether this person can be join other company because this person is resign. If those person are resigning due to to join other employment, is okay. But what if your company needs to shut down? Then you need to terminate all your employees. Okay, then what happened? Is it you submit this document or not? Because when there is any termination, okay, by the employer must submit this form CP22A. So if this employee receive compensation for loss of employment, example, so this is where that you need to complete the remuneration details inside this form CP22A accurately, so that when the IRB issue the tax clearance letter, they already take into account the correct amount. Okay, so now what if suddenly due to this new normal teleworking, all of us work at home, work from home. Maybe some of them is actually, work is not in KL, work in other states, example. Okay, so in this situation, maybe you are not aware that suddenly this person MIA, abscond for those aspects, not even come back to the to come back to Malaysia. Okay, due to this travel restriction by the government. So how you want to handle this? Okay, so this is something that you must make sure that, okay, you as a HR, or maybe you as the payroll also, if you're responsible to submit this, okay, whatever business unit, okay, the information from all of business unit must be informed HR, okay, all the business unit must inform HR the status of the employees, so that you as the as the person responsible to comply with all these employer statutory, okay, so you are able to meet all the deadlines. What if suddenly after 1 month you already pay the salary to these individuals, then you are not aware this individual already left? So how? When is actually your cutoff date? So this is where that you must ensure that you know when will be the cutoff date. So the IRB says 1 month, we need 30 days, sorry, not 1 month, not later than 30 days. You must submit this CP33. So basically, if you submit it within this period, IRB is actually able to provide you with the tax clearance letter. So by right, there is no issue about the late issuance of the tax clearance letter. IRB has the SOP on the issuance of the clearance letter. They have a guidelines. Okay, inside there they said upon submission of the complete information or document, they will issue a tax clearance letter within 14 days. So upon completed information, I'm saying about upon completed information, they will issue. But if you notify IRB within 30 days, I think they have ample time to assess and also to issue the clearance letter to the employer or also to employees. So there is no issue about, oh, my company, my employer withhold my salary, withhold my salary until 90 days. So this is actually already breached the labor law, example. Okay, so how? Because IRB already stated in the act, they says they have a right to withhold until 90 days. Okay, so now you as an employer, now you need to handle not only your employees, you also need to handle the IRB, how to manage this situation. Okay, so this is where that some, I would say that is not easy. Okay, it's more operation. Okay, there is a lot of operation and somehow is practical. But how is actually practical issue can apply, okay, the section or relevant section in the act. So this is where needs to make sure that in line. Okay, we understand this will be the act and what will be the issue here and how is actually we want to mitigate this issue. Okay, and there is any solution or not. Okay, this is where that you needs to identify. Okay, then if you already gather that, okay, so is it the IRB accept your reason on this situation? Okay, so again, right, I would say the IRB is actually trying their best, okay, during this COVID pandemic. Okay, most of them, especially on the MCO, I believe they also have a rotation, okay, to work from home and also work in the office and limit people working in the office, so that but they are trying their best, okay, to issue a clearance letter or issue any notices and to attend all the queries from the taxpayers. Okay, so if you're really not sure in how to deal with, how to, how should I consult? Basically, IRB, there is a very few channels that you are able to reach out. It's either by phone, if phone cannot pick up because busy, you can channel it via the text, by the chat, yeah. Text chat inside the IRB website. There will be feedback as well. There is a new website. IRB already do one feedback for about the text. So any feedback that you want to have a queries, anything, you can just log in and post it there and submit. So of course they have a SOP. Then by right they will revert it to you within their SOP. Okay. So other than that, is email. If you do have the email address, it's much easier so that you are able to contact the person. Okay, so I think even though during this COVID pandemic, there is not a reason for them are not issue any, not doing their work, because of course they need to get and collect money for 144 billion for the government in 2021. So I think they are work very hard, right, to ensure that all of the taxpayers are comply with their tax. But if you as employer feel that so tedious about this CP22A, we need to submit to the IRB if we terminate first people, you know. So how I want to do this? If all the employees, I have 80 employees or 100 employees that I need to terminate due to this COVID pandemic, you know. So how I can handle this as the HR? Only one HR personnel need to handle this for all the employees. So this is where that you need to find a way. Okay, so there is a deadline. Okay, then you need to adhere with the deadline to make sure that you are compliant. Right. So not only for the status of employees, so employees, you know, is either resign, retire, or even terminate, retire, or resign, but also for any employees staff. Okay, so meaning that even though we are working from home, we must keep in touch with all our employees to know their status. Okay, all right. So next will be departure from Malaysia. So when we say notification of departure from Malaysia, see, so if you depart from Malaysia exceeding 3 months, not later than 30 days before the expected departure from Malaysia, you must submit the form CP21. Okay, so if the employees is actually if the employees need to permanently leaving Malaysia, yes, of course, you need to submit CP21. Remember, CP21 for permanent leaving or leave country more than 3 months. Okay, so when we look at this, right, we need to see here as well, permanent leaving, right? Or is exceeding 30 days, exceeding 3 months. So what if this person during this COVID pandemic leave Malaysia, but this person actually still working due to the travel restriction, this person are not be able to come back. The question here, are you terminate them or cease their employment? If you cease their employment, then you need to submit the CP21 to the IRB. Okay, so the case of cease and depart or leaving Malaysia. So you need to submit this CP21 and you need to clear and get the tax clearance letter from the IRB. Okay, the IRB intention for employer to submit this, okay, because government wants to collect money. If this person left Malaysia like that, right, without paying any tax, so this is where that IRB are very hard to catch this person. Okay, so that's why 30 days before the date of departure, you must inform IRB and submit this CP21 so that they issue a tax clearance letter. If there is any outstanding taxes, the company paying the tax based on the money withhold, then the remaining release to the employees. Okay, so here it also says who will be eligible for this. Okay, the taxable employee who will leave Malaysia or intend to leave Malaysia for a period exceeding 3 months. Okay, and of course, if you, all right, leaving for 3 months, then you have to. Okay, so you have to make sure that you submit it, notify. But what happened if there is a frequent interval due to the cost of employment. We are not sure whether, this person needs to be, 3 months off, 3 months in, 3 months off, 3 months in. We still need to submit this CP21. The IRB say they may waive, okay, the requirement to notify if the employee is required to travel or leave Malaysia frequent. Okay. So if not, then you need to submit. Right? Then of course they also says, what if I'm not be able to meet the deadline? Because if there is any specific reason, are you able to accept? IRB says they will accept, but based on their discretion again, yeah. So you must have a concrete and proof information or documents, all right, and also the explanation why is actually you submit this CP21 late. Okay, so let's see what will be the new updates on the form. So new updates on the forms now, they include a note to inform employer that the declaration must be made by the employer in accordance with the category of employer. Okay, so meaning that they say not even the partnership, the companies, the appointment agent, okay, you must submit and complete this form CP21 accurately, and all the information are in order. Okay, so this is just an update for them to put, caveat something, so that you make sure that whatever information here then is accurate. Then the IRB can trust it, okay, when they want to conduct an audit for the employer, because when they want to issue a clearance letter, the IRB normally will conduct audit from the first year this person employed by the company. So if this person is actually employed by this company for the past 5 years, so IRB wants to look at it of 5 years if they want. Okay, so what will be the time bar? Okay, so the time bar, they said the time bar will be 5 years for non-tax, for non-TP cases. But they also can go up to 7 years. Okay, so meaning that, right, when you issue this CP21, the individuals are not be able to run away. So all the tax matters for these employees, all right, for first year he joined until the last year, the IRB may check in. So if there is any dispute, if there is any, tax not being paid, or maybe tax return not submit, then this is where the IRB assess, okay, then issue a notice of provisional of assessment, issue a notice of additional assessment, okay, to the individuals or to the employees. So how to run, right? All the information from employer. So employer has a very, very high responsibility to ensure the information are correct, because the employer also helps the government, okay, to catch and also to make sure that the individuals are paying their tax accurately. Okay, so this is only about their updates. Yeah. So what will be the consequences for non-compliance? Okay, under the section 120 sub 1 sub B, they said, all right, and also sub C. Okay, if you are non-compliant for the subsection 83.1, okay, or 83.1A for the forms E and form EA, or even your employer's obligation to submit notify new employees cessation, So what will be the compound? They say fine not less than 200 and not more than 20,000 per offence, or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, or both. So far, I never encounter or also never heard that there is employer being imprisonment due to non-compliance. But there is a lot of cases that employer, okay, IRB is actually compound the employer based on 200 up to not more than 20,000 per offense. Okay, then given the letter 30 days, they said, okay, so if not compounded, then if you still breach and you this offense can be go and court action will be taken. Yeah, so meaning that if you refer to offense, if you not submit CP22A for 10 employees for that year assessment, meaning that 10 offense. What? 10 offense, can you imagine? So this is where that you need to look at it. Again, very careful. What else? Section 108, 113 sub 2 and 113 sub 1 and 2. For incorrect written or incorrect information, as well as 119A, failure to keep records, they have also penalized you. This will be the penalty. See, everything penalized. So now, let's move on. Are you ready for employer's audit? How is actually how is actually the IRB select for audit? Okay, IRB select the audit based on few cases. Okay, based on their selective. Right, they have their own system, of course, based on the data analytic computerized system which assess the risk and then to analyze of the taxpayer, what will be the risk to analyze. And they say, okay, maybe the information from the third party, okay, third party inform anyone, maybe me, right? If I know that any one of the individual taxpayers who are underdeclared or omit of income, omission of any income, so I go to IRB and I say, this person is actually not declare this benefit. This person, okay? All right, so third party information may be one of the potential. Specific industries, maybe nowadays the boomer sectors will be which one? Okay, pharmaceutical, medical, manufacturing, glove, mask. So is it they are focused on that to get more revenue? Yes, they can do so because they can go for the specific industries. So how about the specific issues? Maybe they want to see, since they are giving so much incentive, they want to go and check whether is it they are comply and is it their report and get the incentive correctly. So they can do so as well. Other than that, maybe based on location. So if they want to focus certain location, maybe hot location, maybe hot location will be KL area. So they can do on KL area for tax audit. But if they feel that the hot location now will be in JB, so they can do so as well. So it's based on location also. So this will be the selection of the tax audit by the IRB. So you as the employer, all right, maybe you never receive any letters from IRBs for the past 20 years, 10 years or 5 years, now watch out. Okay, maybe takes turn. All the employers in Malaysia takes turn to get the love letter from the IRB. Okay, the updates now, the recent update is since January 2021, since the IRB improvised these 3 sections. Okay, basically IRB actively imposing penalty for non-compliant for these 3 sections, in addition to MTD. I think all of you aware about the MTD deduction, MTD PCB audit, that one usual, but normal is unusual for these 3 sections. Okay, so now IRB is look at it. So how is actually IRB will trigger this? Either your company will not comply because from the submission of the form E, right, there is a detail. Did you remember when you submit your form E 2020, you complete all this information, right? Okay, so They want to ask the number of new employees as at 31st December 2020. How many? You put in 5. Okay. Then, if that is how many employees cease employment, you put in 20. Then, from the cease employment, anyone leave? Oh, you said, okay, number of employees leave 2. Then they ask, are you report to the LHDN or not? If this person ceased and left Malaysia, you say no. Okay, end game. End game. You've been selected. Okay, but this you must accurate, right? You cannot, you cannot make statement, false statement in the written, right? So if you are not notified, you must say not. If you notify, you must say yes. Okay, so these are the question is actually how the IRB can check and verify. Okay, so see, then the love letter come in, all right? The IRB has a power to call for information under section 81. Okay, the IRB just want to analyze, all right, what will be the list of your employees. Okay, the CP22, CP21, CP22A, your payroll system. They just want to have analysis on that. Just give me, and I want to review all your documents, and I just want to ensure that are you comply with the IRB's law or not. So if you not and you caught that you've been compound for this, then what you need to do next? So this is where that you need to think about it. Okay. So what else? See, did you receive this? Under section 83(2), notify late or not notify at all for the new employees. Aduh, headache. Then, based on this letter, actually at the back, they will also list down the name of new employees. Just now, how many? 10, right? So, they will list down the employees' name, the new employees' detail, and they put in when the date, start date. Then, there is any CP22 not 22 submitted or not? No. Yes, wow, luckily there is few yes. But when few yes, is it the deadline within 30 days? If the deadline not within 30 days, then the list there. Sorry, you've been compound. Okay, so unfortunately, you need to be compounded to that. So each offense, so you have 10 for that year assessment, so meaning that 10 offense. So the offense 200 up to 20,000 for each offense. Okay. This is for 1 year. How about if they look at 2 or 3 years? And is it there is any possibility if they look at prior years, is it this year also, they will look at it? Okay, so possibility they will look at it. Okay, so this is where that you need to watch out again. So next, this one. I think most of you maybe are not aware about this letter, but we did receive this letter. Okay, as a tax agent, we encounter this situation where the IRB queries why is actually you submit your form CP21 late. Very hard to explain. Okay, but we have to respond. If we not respond, then they will issue a compound letter straight. So if we still have a time to explain within the deadline, provide them with the explanation and also evidence why late. Okay, so next, what else? This will be the normal, I think, for PCB audit. There is a long list of information that IRB wants from you, and you need to provide those information required by the IRB. Okay, then there is a template that they want you to put in, and to follow, so that the information they will just transfer to their system, and their system automatically compute for you, oh, which one will be under report, which one will be overreporting. Okay, the problem here, those are under reporting of MTD. They will do the name, the month, and also the amount. Okay, you don't need to do. If you are not doing properly, they will do it properly for you. So now better you check again your MTD or your payroll, especially your payroll. Is it your payroll system accurate enough, right? Based on the IRB's rules, okay? Then is it your payroll system also is approved by and also approved and authorized by the IRB or not? This is the most important, okay? So what will be the common pitfalls here? The common pitfalls as a deemed employer just now, yes, you didn't realize that you need to comply with all these because you're sponsoring their work permit. Okay, the information from the submission of the tax return of the Form E, Form EA, or even CP39, or even prescribed from the IRB, all this information, they can just link. Can you see? From Form E information, they will detect non-compliance of 83, 82, 84. Right? So what else? From the Form E information, they can detect the Form EA is not tally, because the EA received by employees, employee will submit the tax return, but the information doesn't match. So if not match, something wrong. It's not correct. So you need to look at it. Insufficient document to support tax audit, of course, because there is no information in place. Somehow, you know, I'm still new in this company. So how I want to dig out all this information or document to support this audit? So this is something that we need to see. Okay, late awareness there is no awareness, and I'm not sure. I don't know about this employment tax and also payroll tax. What all this? Employers tax, employment tax, payroll tax. Okay, employment tax, what is all about? Employment tax is about this employer obligation. Okay, so what all this section all about? Then of course payroll tax, what will be payroll tax? All the taxability in your payroll system is accurate or not based on the tax. Yeah, there is a section 13 of the gross employment income, correct or not? Lack of collaboration within department. Unfortunately, if this happen, okay, so you are not be able to perform the tax audit because you know the information you need to obtain from finance, from accounts department, okay, from business unit. So all of these team must be work together to make sure that be able to perform the audit. Yeah. So employment issues relating to COVID-19 pandemic due to travel restriction. Yes. There is a lot of issues and information about this. Yeah, due to this travel restriction, these expatriates are not be able to come back to Malaysia. And how about the reporting of income? How about their reporting of the Form E? Is it we need to submit CP22, CP22A, you know, CP21, all this. We must make sure that this is where the issues come from and how is actually you want to mitigate it. Okay, so here. Are you ready? So how you want to handle? Action required by the employer, of course, you need to have this do self-help check. See whether there is a gap analysis to potential tax issues for remedial action. Have that or not? Okay. So if there is any gap, look at the SOP. What happened to the tax internal control? Implement appropriate internal control to identify the gap. Okay, then based on that, you must have the proper documentation to ensure that a proper, proper documentation and what will be your position towards that, what will be the reason about that. So all documented, all the chronology of events are there. So easy for you to explain to the IRB and this is all about this matter. Okay, you want, I give you. Is it sufficient? If not sufficient, what else? Then I try to find out with you. Okay. then you as employer need to try to find out what else information required by the IRB. Tax audit and investigation. Okay, sorry, appoint tax agent. Okay, if you are not sure, okay, my headache already. I don't know how to settle all this problem. Engage, okay, engage tax consultant to provide you with the proper advisory. Okay, proper advisory, what you should do, what you should improve in your SOP. Is it your tax reporting of tax is okay or not? You get their consultation. Okay, early consultation to obtain technical confirmation, of course, all right, so that you can get ready towards the IRB's audit. And tax audit, when comes from the tax audit investigation, you must have a strategy. Okay, don't even to just simply just submit, just give. So give without seeing properly. So also if something happen, because IRB will check it properly for you. Okay, so so I think there is a few tips that I want to share with you as an employer when you encounter these audit letters. Okay, first, number one, when you get the love letter from IRB, don't panic. Oh my, what I need to do? Don't panic. Go down, relax, okay? Think about it. Who should responsible for this letter? That's number one, okay? So then when you have that love letter, see in the letter there is any deadline or not. Oh, different letters, there will be different deadlines. 14 days, 21 days, there is a deadline. So if the deadline lapse, okay, you need to quickly call the IRB's officer who issue a letter, okay, or email them and obtain the extension of time. Give a reason why you need time. Then if they're satisfied, they will give you extension of time. But when you get the extension of time, there is a minute that you need to dig out your file, your documents, your soft copy information, your hard copy information to make sure that you can give the information to the IRB properly. Okay, then what else? If you are not sure that where the information that you can find, this is where that you need to find your surround you. Business unit, finance, account, IT. If you're having a problem with payroll software, maybe go and check with IT, right? If you are having a problem with, this is outside payroll, we need to get the information from accounts maybe. So you need to do so. So when you already gather all that information, okay, but still, unfortunately, Mona, there is nothing in my system, there's nothing and I'm new. So what should I do? Then this time that you need to get consultation with the expert for the tax agent to assist you how to appeal against this penalty or audit. Yeah, so this is how that you need to have a proper, arrangement on this so that you can get ready towards the employer's audit. So before we continue with the Q&A session, I would like to encourage you to subscribe our email newsletter. All right, this is just scan, you take your phone and just subscribe your newsletter. Okay, so this you already scan this, all right. We will give you few updates. There is always an updates relating to tax. It's not limit to the employer tax, but also to other direct tax or indirect taxes. Okay, so it's good for you if you can subscribe our email newsletter. Then you can look at the tax alert, so you can read what will be the updates. If it's relevant to you, then you can take it and do the necessary. Yeah. So okay, Sean, I think let's move on to the questions and answers answer session.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mona.
Yes.
It looks like the tax department, Inland Revenue Board, seems to be passing on the buck to employers, and it's just very eye-opening and very onerous it's getting harder and harder to do business nowadays. That means it's also cost to all this compliance. And I just wonder how SME can handle this, because they're not run by very correct, you know. It's just too onerous lah. I mean, it's like getting the employers to help the IRB in chasing this and chasing that. I tell you, and things like an employee who is leaving to another place wouldn't be sharing information to say, hey, I'm going to there, I'm getting double the pay or whatever it is. Sometimes they're very secretive because they are afraid that you know, you might sabotage there because I know the other guy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do. This is something which probably maybe there might be another session later on. Anyway, we have some preliminary questions here in the slides, which we go through first. Then after that, we'll open it to the board. There's quite a lot of questions been asked in the chat group, and Shantini is helping out quite extensively.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
So, okay, the first question here is are employers required to notify the Inland Revenue Board by submitting CP22 if they are registered, if they have registered the new employees under e-data?
Okay. Now, there is an issue here because they say IRB established e-data to ensure that all the taxpayers have the visibility to just do or daftar their tax file online. Okay, so when you do this, normally e-daftar will take only 3 to 7 days, to give the income tax number. Okay, but the issue here, once the IRB or even once the employer already submit the information about this employee via e-daftar and get the income tax file number, should the employer still need to submit CP22? Okay, so yes, based on the section 83.2, the CP22 need to be submitted to the IRB by the employer to notify the new employees within 30 days from the date of commencement. So unfortunately, even though the information from e-daftar quite similar with the prescribed form of this CP22, but you still need to submit to the IRB. So duplication, even though it's
duplication,
but
and
cannot do
it's
anything.
Right, it's already again. All right, that's a next question. Next question. Okay, scroll the slide. Okay. This is something too. You know, what if the employee abscond and just leaves without any notice? I guess there comes a time where your employer will make a decision to terminate lah. So that's why you need to put in the form, right? What would the employer need to do?
Yes, true. Correct. So due to this abscond case, suddenly MIA, employer needs to determine when will be the end date, like I said. Okay. So we must have the end date. When we talk about local employees, easy. Okay, because local employees at the end of the day, okay, the IRB can still catch the employees because the employees still in Malaysia anyhow, right? Okay, so now the employees still need to just submit the CP21 to the IRB that because this person abscond, all right, based on the date, even though you are not be able to submit it within the 30 days from the day of this person because you don't know, right? So then you just submit, and the reason is what? You need to inform. The reason is this. Okay, because this person are not be able to come over, then we already pay 1 month salary, then suddenly, there is no news at all. So, but then the employer decided to cut off this employment for this employee, then you complete the CP22A, all right, then you submit to the IRB. So IRB will take action from that. But how about the expatriate employees? So this is a problem. So when the expatriate employees go on like that, you employer not even able to cancel their work permit. So I just advise you as the employer, even though you are not be able to get their original passport to cancel the permit, you must submit the document, all right, to the immigration to cancel their permit via the system. So that, all right, it's clear that this person are not be able to use your pass, all right, your employer, the pass, because I believe still valid. So because this person just abscond like that, so then they just suddenly work with other company maybe, all right. So you can just, stop that from the system. Okay, so when you have all these information and documents by right, you can support to the IRB as well. So you submit the CP21, right, Libas form, that you inform all the information. Then after that, you submit information from the immigration, especially police report, the submission document to cancel the expatriate pass via system. So all this you give to the IRB. But the question here, how about the tax? So when the IRB receive the CP21 from the company, so IRB will assess, right, the tax for this expatriate from the first year of this expat, okay, work from the with the company. So for example, for 2 years. So these 2 years, when the IRB assess it, there is any non-submission, maybe, okay, because you are not aware, because this tax you assume expat will handle themselves, but suddenly this expat not even do anything about the tax. So the IRB will assess based on their discretion, okay, they issue a provisional of tax assessment for these 2 years. So the question, big question here, who will pay? So since the employer is sponsoring the work permit of this expatriate, unfortunately in the one of the section in the act says that the director of the company are responsible to pay any outstanding taxes on behalf of this employee. So too bad. Unfortunately, whatever relating to these individuals, okay, because you're sponsoring the work permit, the obligation of the outstanding taxes, employer needs to make sure that they settle. Okay, so if not, if the employer not do it, maybe these employees, these expatriate employees, when the IRB issue the civil proceeding, so stoppage order, these individuals are not be able to come in to Malaysia again. Okay, so this is how the IRB is look at it. Yeah.
How do you do this? I mean, like after you have made your payroll, let's say today, right, for May, and then the employee abscond, right? So there's no holding anything, no withholding, nothing. How then the IRB comes back with a tax bill of this expatriate that is left. So now you end up with the directors having to top it up, right?
Yeah.
What you mean?
Yes, because at the end, directors of the company are responsible for any outstanding taxes, unfortunately.
Wow.
But if they not get this aspect, because you're sponsoring their work permit.
Maybe I'm just thinking aloud whether you can always withhold one salary.
Because the abscond case is very hard, Sean, because right, somehow when this person say, okay, this expat is eligible for one home leave passage normally. Okay, so when they go back to their home country, suddenly never come back. So this is the problem. So when they never come back, they'll say, okay, just extend it the holiday, Okay, but then suddenly they just switch off the phone. So you can't contact at all. So how?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also now with MCO, a lot of the work from home.
Yes,
and if it is
exactly.
more than a month, you lost contact, you don't know, I may have, let's say 5,000 workers.
Wow.
Only then 60% working, the other 40%, somewhere, and we next thing you know, these guys have left and stuff like that, or not answering. It gets very onerous, right? Very onerous.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe next question. Okay. All right. The CP22 that's submitted to the IRB needs to be submitted regardless of salary payment amount. for the new joiner or only the threshold of 3,000 per month?
So this is where that the problems come from for all the employers. They are in dilemma, you know. So because they said in the Act says if the employees is likely chargeable to tax. So when we look at this, is either this 3,000 or below, is it still need to submit? By right, based on this Act, it should not. Okay, no need. But the problem here, when we look at chargeable to tax, they are not looking at per month. Unfortunately, they are looking at is correct or not in towards the year. All right, is chargeable to tax or not? So how you want to determine for the first month that this person joined? Because you know they may claim personal relief, like I said, you know, book relief, lifestyle relief, you know, parents care a lot. So is it they're chargeable to tax or not? But when we have a discussion with the IRB, they said, okay, if those are employees that you are uncertain, you are not sure about it, so it's no harm to just, you know, to just submit to the Inland Revenue Board. They just can accept it. They will accept it.
Okay. Wow. Again, you know, you're talking about thousands.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, but
All right,
I
next.
think if I think this is just honest advice to all the employers, yeah. So if you feel that 3,000 normally is still not chargeable to tax when you kick in the payroll, okay. So below that should not, okay. But it's based on the category itself, spouse working or not, or
Yeah,
spouse not
right.
working, right? So if you find that the first month may not, no need to do, no need to do. But if the salary 5,000 and above, 4,000 and above, this is a question mark. So this is where that the category of employees that you need to look at lah. Okay.
Okay. So another one is if the
Yep.
employee's remuneration cannot be finalized within 30 days from the cessation date, how is the employer going to report this? There was a question from the floor that asked similar question because there are commissions that could be calculated and it doesn't come after 30 days.
That's a problem. Okay, now what happened? There is two ways to do it. Okay, one, if you are not be able to finalize that income, any income, yeah, you are not be able to finalize any income within 30 days from the before the last day. Okay, so first is either you just submit the form, okay, based on the estimation, right? Then once you already finalize, you can submit the amendments of the form CP22A or CP21. Okay, but the problem here is the employees or employer needs to do a tedious way lah, you know, because you want to meet the deadlines, yeah. Or else you can submit the CP22A or CP21 when the income has been finalized. So if a case where the IRB come back to you because, hey, you actually submit this form late. Why? This is where that I've informed earlier. So you need to have a justification, the reason. If you say that the income are not cannot be finalized because of the nature of the item is when, you know, for example, commission, this only can be calculated after they perform, you know, receive the information, the cut-off date, when the cut-off payroll is when, the information get in is when. So this is where that you need to inform the IRB the reason. So there is a possibility that IRB can allows you, okay, to not penalize based on this. But I suggest, for any cases, if you do have the case like this, actually frequent case or maybe a normal case for your company, all right, I suggest that you get a written confirmation from IRB on this situation specifically for your employees. Yeah. So this is the best actually. What will be their suggestion or answer?
Coming still on this thing, that you say that the accuracy of the forms to be submitted.
Yes, must be accurate. Correct.
Yeah, is there anything wrong if, you know, I haven't finalized the commission, say to speak, then you say estimate. I guess there is no penalty for overestimating. You know,
Yes.
to be safe, I might well overestimate.
Mm.
Would you
Okay.
recommend that?
Okay, so basically overestimate or underestimation is actually is either correct or incorrect information. So there is two. Incorrect written or information stated in the form or in text written, or is omission or under declare of it. So it's a different section of the penalties there. So in this situation is based on the case by case basis, what will be the best for the employer's approach. So if you feel that, okay, based on the payroll system up to the month, when you calculate the last month's salary for these employees based on the formula, based on your tax policy, except the commission, example. So you leave it. Okay, you leave it first, but then you just submit to the IRB. But then once you already finalize it, okay, then you need to resubmit it for the amendments. So this is considered the final version, which is, so you add on the commission, add on OT, add on some of claims which is taxable. So this is where that you can do so. But it's very hard because it's operational. I would say, because of this once submit once, then need to submit again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's getting more and more. The mind is getting more and more clouded already. Okay.
Yes.
Next
Yep.
question. Do I have any more?
Yep. Any question from the floor on this?
Shall we move to the questions on the floor yet?
Yes, can.
Wow.
What's that?
Okay, there's quite a lot.
Yes.
Some of this has been addressed, I'm sure. Just a note that the duplication of submission of Form CP22
Not
and
duplication.
a lot of these things, the chamber will probably do some feedback to IRB to say that it's a bit
Yes.
dangerous. The cost of doing business is heavy. I don't know how the SMEs can handle all this kind of stuff, and we will be convening we have a taxation council, which then we get feedback from the membership, and then maybe you can help us to convey back to the IRB Okay. Say one question is, I don't quite understand this. Can we update the payroll data for previous years that will be audited by the LHDN? The date of cessation. Trust once this change is made, the information of section A in the E form will be different. I guess you're saying that this only applies from 1st January 2021 only, right?
Yeah. Okay. Now, basically, because this section is already improvised effective 1st January 2021. Okay. But this section already there long time ago already. Okay. But they just improvise on the period or the deadlines to submit only, and what will be the prescribed form. So they already enlightened in that way. Okay, so now the question here is either you want to dig out those are prior years. That's number one. Or is it you want just to wait and see? Okay, so if you do it, whatever that prior example you want to do from January this year, just want to make it clean up. Yeah, okay, submit everything. Then suddenly IRB trigger, this all late submission already. Even though you submit late, even though you already submitted, but it's late, the compound still there. So I would say that.
Wait, there's a noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right, no worries. Okay, so even though you are late, still compound. So now, late still compound, not submit still compound. So it's still you need to bear all the compound. Right, only is either when you submit for this year, January, February, March, April, they will trigger for prior years. I would say yes, they can. So now, wait and see, or voluntary doing. So it's up to the management how you want to do it clean.
Okay. There's one about, I think this is clarification or repeating what you have already suggested. For the CP22A, Normally employee wouldn't, you know, as I say, they won't tell where they're leaving. So
Yeah.
your suggestion is for the employee to sign a letter stating that he or she will be employed subsequent to leaving our company. Is that right? Or if you fill up the CP22A, they ask you where the person is going, right?
Okay. Basically, in the CP22A, there is no information or details required for you whether they leave country or not. Okay. But the problem here is actually some noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Again, sorry.
Okay, okay, all right. I repeat it again, yeah. So basically, the problem here is actually when the CP22A is means that the IRB wants to know that is really this individual will employed by other employer in the company or not. If yes, then the IRB say is no need for the employer to submit CP22A. Okay. The problem here, what will be the action by the employer if to justify that this employees is actually being employed by other employer, okay, in company. The other alternative is either get the declaration of something from the employee to sign off, okay, to says that, you know, is will working in Malaysia, no need to specify the employee's company ABC whatsoever, but they will employ in Malaysia. Okay, will continue employ in Malaysia. That's number one. And number two is actually that still, you know, any taxes or tax liabilities will be borne by these individuals. This is some of alternative. Normally that employers are able to keep taking care or take off when the IRB wants to know, right, when you are not complying with the CP21. So when you have these documents, when IRB audit, IRB asks you, why you not notify these 10 employees? So you can say these all 10 employees actually work with other company. So this is all the proof. So normally, yeah.
But then, you know, we won't know, right? I mean, the
problem here, when we conduct the exit interview session, there is a checklist or anything. This is where the employee needs to declare. Okay, I'm actually work with are you working in Malaysia? Are you will employed with other company in Malaysia? Yes or no?
Yeah, but
Are you will live in Malaysia? No.
not all like that, you see, because there are
Yes.
those that had an argument with the boss and say, you know, I'm leaving now, goodbye, thank you, and he just storm out of the door. What are you gonna do? You know?
Is the problem. So where if there is no information, if you are not be able to substantiate, is very hard. But I just hope, you also must hope that when the IRB system, when they found that, for example, this employee A terminate from your company in April, okay, then the MTD still continue in the IRB system. So it's fine. IRB will not go and check on you. But when the IRB is look at, you know, oh, May, June, July, August, September, there is no MTD. So this is where the IRB check the employer. Why? Where is the submission of the CP22A? Because this person leaving, terminate. Is it terminate or is it leaving country? Or this is where that the audits come from.
I guess to be safe, whether the person is moving to another employment or not, just go and submit the CP22A and assume that they will continue.
Can also, but then when the CP22A issue, the IRB will conduct audit and also get the clearance letter lah. It's a good way also to do it, but you know, if you feel that uncomfortable, it's better for you to do, why not? So just to make sure it's clean. So the individual will clean up all their taxes also. So the employee cannot go run away. So they need to ensure all the tax clean.
True lah. Because it's very scary lah. I mean, you know, if you have thousands of workers.
No, Sean, you know what? The problem here, if the individual's taxpayers being audited, the most common issue when the IRB check their file and they want to have all the receipts for the reliefs claim. So this is where the most of employees in Malaysia or taxpayers in Malaysia are not be able to substantiate whatever claims that they already made in their tax return. So when they are not be able to get all this information, the IRB have a right to reassess and disallow all these reliefs. So end up, the individuals are suffer from additional tax plus penalty because the individuals are not submit tax return accurately. So this is where is something that I hope, okay, when I have, somehow I switch my company, I must ensure that all my taxes, of course, is clean. So if not, I must make sure that all the receipt, all the details of the tax are there. So otherwise, when they reassess because of no documents, so they will impose a penalty, of course, on me. So it's more headache to the employees. So that's why employees actually not like doesn't to not the one the employer to submit this kind of CP22A because this individual will join and continue other employees. They're not terminating or not even retiring. So this is the quite scared lah. Yeah.
I have one here that quickly is traveling allowance is
Yep.
exempted up to 6,000. If they are getting traveling allowance under the 6,000, should this be declared in CP22?
Okay, so traveling allowance, okay, for up to 6,000 due to the business purpose. So this one, you need to report under Part F of the Form EA. So this is need to be report under Part F. It should not be report as a taxable item. Meaning that, example, you receive 1 year 12,000 travel allowance. So 6,000 is tax exempt. So 6,000 you report at the Part F of the Form EA, and another 6,000 taxable item you need to report in the tax in up there, which is under the allowance. Okay, under the Part B1A. Part B1B. Inside the EA of the EA. Okay, on top taxable, then at the bottom is exempted. So you still need to report the exempt amount in the Part F. So but taxable amount only 6,000 lah. So 6 and 6. 6,000 up and 6,000 down there. So I think if you already really have issues about the taxability of income, reporting of the EA, basically we normally I will conduct every year I will conduct the Form E and EA reporting. Yeah. So how is actually to report, and I will go through with you step by step. What will be tax under Section 31A? What will be the cash? Is it cash taxable? If cash is not taxable, is how? So under Section 31B will be benefit. So where to report the benefit? C, etc., etc. So I will in my session is actually all about to prepare the EA itself. So it's either taxable, not taxable, exemption or not. This kind of the webinar. I think you should join. Okay.
Okay. Right. I mean, in view of the timing, quick ones. I assume that foreign workers are also we need to submit the CP22A, right? It includes foreign workers, right?
Yes. So basically there is no category. All employees is foreign workers, expatriate, local employees, business traveler, all these employees category needs to follow the rules. If the employees is or is likely chargeable to tax, then you need to file.
Okay. There's one more. Can we declare the 22A as at basis? That means only declare additional income for current or even subsequent years, even that employee no more in our employment. Do you understand that? I don't really understand that question.
is it the meaning of this question? Actually, subsequent, basically whatever, okay, tax reporting, okay, there is no rollover, or there is no preceding. Last time, remember that, if you can remember, last time the IRBs allows, okay, if this income is for YA 2018, okay, when you prepare YA 2019, okay, you needs to stated in that is the prior year's income at the bottom. So now, because effective year assessment, if I'm not mistaken, 2016, oh no, 2015, sorry, 2015, there is a new section in the Act says that there is no more income, that whatever that income received, okay, if you receive the income, then you need to report the income on that received year. For example, bonus. So bonus is actually bonus performance last year, 2020. But then you only receive the bonus in January 2021. So you need to report that bonus in January 2021. So in your EA 2021 instead. There is no more go back to last year to open it back. No, yeah. So it's based on the receipt basis. So this is for employees. Yeah.
So that means that if an employee were to leave in December of 2020, a CP22A is submitted for that employee, and then the bonus or commissions are calculated in 2021, then we will resubmit an amendment.
Yes, you need, yeah, you need to give only, you need to give the EA on that only.
Okay, right. I think that's about all. There's one last one to say, that how the IRB will conduct the audit if there are two employer numbers under the same company.
Okay. When we look at the employer's number, okay, two employers number for one company, is it? This is what the question, right, Sean? Okay, example. Why is happened actually is either one scenario when the employer, which is employer, one company have two employees number, because one, they wants to separate the expatriate and also the local employees. That's one possibility. Second is they want to split the top management level and also the employees. Okay. So as long as this employee have two employers number, IRB go for the E number. So if the IRB goes for the E number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/1, okay, you must check all the report or details for that E number. So if the IRB do another one, unfortunately they can see, oh, got two E and two E number. So I want to go and check out all the documents. They also can do so. So it depends on the IRB.
Oh, all right. Okay. Right. I guess just one more last one. Okay.
Yep.
This is just that this, I think it's quite easy to answer that. I say this person has opened his business in 2019, but hasn't declared any tax until now. So they want to really front up to it now. So the first question is that there will probably be penalty, and what sort of possible documents that is needed to declare this tax. I guess like anything normal, right?
Yeah. It should be, is based on, so basically if there is no declaration at all, so basically the IRB, of course, if you want to do a self-voluntary, you need to do it at the first year, meaning that the first year, for example, maybe 3 years you are not report anything. So you need to provide all the information and documentation relating to that year assessment. So whatever supporting documents on that year assessment, you report it accurately, then of course, there will be a penalty for late submission. There will be a penalty because when you do a late submission, there will be a different penalty. Then also if you, the penalty if you self-voluntary, the penalty will be maximum up to 40% for the tax undercharge. Yeah, so it's based on the timing also. So there is a 6-month late, 1 year late, 2 years late. So there is a range actually when you want to come and voluntary. So the penalty will be based on that way. Yeah.
Yeah lah. I mean, very simple lah. Contact Miss Mona Lisa from okay, you will help with this hopefully, right?
Yes, I will. We try our best. So because recently, honestly speaking, during this COVID pandemic, even though it's people actually work from home, then the data information is very hard to get it. But the IRB audits letter still we need to respond and reply. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where that you really needs to get it done quickly, and if you are not be able to do it, you seriously need to go and have a discussion with the officer how to actually close the case.
Okay. All right. Just a roundup. Thank you. Very insightful and very pertinent. This is really good. One final note of relief is like you say. Yes, the enhancements of 38, section 38, 3, 4, and 5. But I guess the IRB is slightly lenient at the moment lah.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
People adjust lah. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So without any further thing, we need to close down the webinar. Don't worry. There may be subsequent ones coming up from us. Thank you again for everyone for listening in. If you had the contact numbers of Pro, you can see some of the emails there. Do talk to them if you have any further queries. So thanking you again and everyone that is attended this. So good afternoon and see you next time.
Yes. Bye. Thanks, Sean. Stay safe.
Yes.
Bye.
Important is stay safe, yeah, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.